If you feel tired, overwhelmed, or quietly hurting inside, pause for a moment. This message is for your heart. Sometimes in life, everything looks fine on the outside, but inside, it feels very different. It's like a silent storm, one that no one else can see. Your thoughts feel confused, your chest feels heavy, and the quiet around you feels louder than ever. If this feels familiar, you are not alone. You truly are not alone. And here is something important. Healing does not begin outside of you, it begins within. You do not have to search everywhere. The calm, the strength, and the love you feel you are missing already exist inside you, patiently waiting. Today, we take a gentle step inward, guided by Buddhist wisdom. We will explore 10 timeless truths that can slowly reopen the door to your soul. These are not just ideas, they are healing for the heart. Let this be more than just another video. Let it be a safe space where your feelings are accepted, where your mind can rest and your spirit can breathe. So close your eyes, even for a short moment. Take a slow, deep breath. Feel it. That is where healing begins. You deserve peace. You are worthy of love. You are worthy of becoming whole again. Now let's take that first step together with the gentle guidance of the Buddha toward inner stillness, compassion, and the quiet dignity of self-respect. Lesson 1. Everything is in motion, nothing stands still. Pain has a way of making us feel stuck, as if time has frozen and the sadness will never lift. But the truth whispered through every moment of life is this: nothing lasts forever. Maybe you've been through days that felt like they would never end, moments where loneliness and sorrow wrapped around you like a storm and the light seemed too far to reach. You may have asked yourself, will this ever stop? Will I ever feel whole again? And yet life continues to move. The seasons shift, the tides rise and fall, the sun sets and rises without fail. This is the law of impermanence, central to the teachings of the Buddha. No emotion, no pain, no joy, no circumstance remains forever. When we're drowning in sorrow, it feels like we're stuck in it. But just as winter melts into spring, your suffering too will transform. One day, the weight you carry now will feel lighter. It will become a memory, not a burden. Even the darkest night must surrender to the morning light, and so it is with your pain. It will pass. This moment is not the whole story of your life. It's just one chapter. What seems unbearable today will give birth to a stronger you tomorrow. Difficulties shape us. They mold our strength, deepen our understanding, and prepare us for a brighter path ahead. So when you feel overwhelmed, remember, this is not permanent. It's just a passing wave in the vast ocean of your life. Trust the flow of time. Trust that peace is not far behind. The only constant is change, and in that change lies the hope, the healing, and the rebirth you're waiting for. Lesson 2. Embrace your pain, don't escape it. Healing doesn't begin with resistance, it begins with honesty. Like a small flame lit in a dark room, healing quietly begins the moment you say, "Yes, this hurts." We all carry wounds, and yet so often we hide them. We smile when we're breaking inside. We scroll through screens, surround ourselves with noise, and wear strength like a mask. But behind it all, the pain waits, unseen, unheard, unhealed. Buddhist wisdom teaches us a simple truth. What we refuse to feel will never fully heal. The more we run from pain, the more it follows. It isn't trying to destroy us, it's trying to be acknowledged. So instead of asking your pain, "Why are you here?" try saying, "You've come for a reason. What do you want me to learn?" Sit with it, listen to it, let it speak, even if its language is silence. Pain is not your enemy. It's a message, a lost part of you that wants to come home. When you welcome it, when you give it space, it begins to soften, and in that moment, something sacred happens. you begin to make peace with yourself. True strength is not pretending you're unshaken, it's admitting you're hurting and choosing to grow anyway. Every hurt is a line in your story. Every tear holds a truth, and every crack is the place where the light of transformation can enter. You don't need to be perfect, you just need to be real, because in accepting your brokenness, you begin to reclaim your wholeness. Lesson 3. The healing power of self-compassion. True healing doesn't begin when others start loving you, it begins when you start loving yourself. We often fall apart over the smallest things: a cold shoulder from someone, a missed expectation, a lack of recognition. These moments sting not just because of what others did, but because of what they stirred inside us. Doubt, insecurity, and the painful question, am I not worthy? But here's the quiet truth. It's not the absence of love from others that wounds us most. It's the absence of love from within. We keep chasing validation, hoping someone will make us feel whole, yet we leave ourselves unseen, unheard, and unloved. Buddha once said, "You yourself, as much as anybody in the entire universe, deserve your love and affection." Let that sink in. You are not incomplete, you are not lacking, you are simply disconnected from your own presence. Imagine how your life might change if you treated yourself like someone worth cherishing. What if each morning, instead of criticism, you offered yourself a kind smile? What if your past mistakes became lessons rather than weapons of self-blame? What if, instead of waiting for approval from others, you whispered to yourself, "I am enough, I am whole, just as I am"? That's not arrogance, that's inner strength. Self-love is not about indulgence, it's about acknowledgement. It's the quiet act of sitting with your feelings, holding your brokenness with tenderness, and no longer abandoning yourself when you need support the most. When you learn to love who you are, you stop fearing solitude, you stop needing constant reassurance, you begin to grow roots, deep, unshakable roots, in your own being. Because real healing doesn't come from the outside, it blossoms from within, from the moment you decide to stand beside yourself. So next time you feel overlooked, exhausted from hoping someone will understand you, pause, breathe, then say gently to yourself, "I see you, I accept you, I love you." In that moment, you'll realize you've always had the most loyal companion right there with you, and from that place of inner love, no wound is too deep to mend. Lesson 4. The medicine of silence. Healing doesn't always come from doing more. Sometimes it comes from doing nothing at all. In our fast-paced lives, we're always moving toward goals, toward people, toward distractions. But rarely do we pause and turn inward. We've grown used to the noise, not just the kind that surrounds us, but the kind that lives in our own heads. But what if the clarity you seek isn't in more motion, but in stillness? The Buddha once said, "A disciplined mind brings happiness," and that discipline begins in silence, because only in quiet moments can we hear what's truly going on inside us. Try this. Set everything down, close your eyes, let the outside world fall away. At first it's uncomfortable. The silence might feel overwhelming. Old wounds, buried thoughts, and hidden fears may surface, but that's where transformation begins. When we stop running from ourselves, we start meeting ourselves. You may start to hear a faint voice within. It doesn't shout, it whispers, "You're not broken, you're simply tired." Come back to yourself. That voice is not your ego, it's your soul, and it's been waiting patiently for you to listen. Sitting in silence isn't easy, but it's sacred. As you make room for stillness, something begins to shift. The mental clutter starts to dissolve. The tension in your chest begins to ease. You begin to see things as they are, not as fear or anxiety paints them, and slowly your inner world softens. A quiet light appears where there was once confusion. That is the space where true healing begins, not in escape, but in presence. So the next time life feels too loud, too heavy, or too fast, try something radical. Stop, breathe, close your eyes, and gently enter the silence within. There, in that quiet space, you'll discover that the peace you've been chasing has been quietly waiting for you all along. Lesson 5. The present moment is where life truly lives. Real peace isn't found by digging through the past or racing into the future. It's discovered right here in this single breath. So often we wake up but carry yesterday on our shoulders. We move through the day, but our thoughts remain tangled in regrets, memories, or things we can't change. And by nightfall, instead of resting, we're burdened by fears about tomorrow. This is the hidden suffering, being physically present but mentally elsewhere. The Buddha taught that true aliveness only exists in the present moment, and yet we spend most of our lives everywhere except here. We replay old mistakes, revisit past pain, and invent future problems, all while the present slips quietly through our fingers. But think about it. Can you rewrite the past by obsessing over it? Can you control the future by worrying? All we truly have is now. Healing begins when we return to what's real, this moment. Right now you can feel your breath rising and falling. You can hear the world around you, birds, wind, laughter, silence. You can notice your own presence, not your story, not your identity, but you, simply being. This is not about ignoring the past or neglecting the future. It's about refusing to miss what's already here, because every second that passes is a part of your life you'll never get back. When you begin to value the present, your mind softens, your heart opens, you begin to heal, not because life became easier, but because you finally stopped abandoning the only place where life actually happens. So the next time your mind drifts to what was, or fears what might be, gently pause. Ask yourself, am I missing what's happening right now? Then take a breath, look around and say, I am grounded, I am present, this moment is mine, and it is enough. Lesson 6. Trace the pain to its roots. There's a truth the Buddha taught that we often overlook. All pain arises from a cause. See the cause clearly, and the suffering begins to dissolve. Let's step into a familiar story, not of someone famous, but someone like you and me. Picture a young boy named Arjun. One day in school he makes a small mistake, but instead of gentle correction, his father lashes out in front of everyone. Laughter echoes, shame floods in. The moment ends, but something inside him doesn't. Years pass. Arjun finishes school, lands a good job, builds a life. But every time someone criticizes him, even slightly, a wave of anxiety rises. His hands tremble, his confidence collapses. People around him say, "You're too sensitive," but they don't see the scar left behind, a wound he never acknowledged, let alone healed. The Buddha once said, "When the root of a tree dries up, its branches cannot flourish." In the same way, when we ignore the origin of our emotional pain, our outer life may seem fine, smiles, success, distractions, but inside the roots are withering. So what's the answer? More distractions, forcing positive thoughts. Real healing begins in stillness. It starts when we stop running and ask ourselves, when did this pain begin? Why does this trigger me so deeply? Maybe someone betrayed you. Maybe your dreams were ridiculed. Or maybe you turned away from yourself, and rather than face it, you buried it. But buried wounds don't vanish. They grow quiet, waiting, whispering through our fears and reactions. The Buddha taught to understand is to be free. The moment you turn inward and ask, what is the source of this suffering? You light the first lantern on your path to peace. No medication, no applause, just truth. And truth, seen clearly, is the beginning of liberation. Lesson 7. Stop comparing yourself to others. There's a quiet thief that robs more people of joy than failure ever could: comparison. It slips in unnoticed, often disguised as motivation, but slowly corrodes our sense of worth. The Buddha reminded us that comparing ourselves is a natural impulse. But when we feed that habit, it mutates into something toxic. It doesn't just distract us, it dismantles us from within. In today's world, all it takes is a few scrolls. You open your phone, and there they are. People who seem to be living their best lives. Someone's exploring the Alps. Someone else just got promoted. Another just got engaged in Bali. It's a curated world of perfect moments, and yet we measure our real messy lives against it. And suddenly, a quiet voice whispers, "Why not me? What am I missing?" But that question comes from illusion. When you compare your path to someone else's highlight reel, you ignore your own story, the battles you've fought, the distance you've traveled, the progress you've made when no one was watching. You forget that every soul is a different book, and judging your worth by someone else's cover is not only unfair, it's harmful. Your life is not meant to follow someone else's timeline. Your growth, your rhythm, your breakthroughs, they arrive on their own schedule. Just as the sun and the moon never compete, yet both illuminate the world in their own time, you too will shine. Not earlier, not later, but exactly when you're meant to. The Buddha said, "Don't compare your life to others." There's no comparison between the sun and the moon. They shine when it's their time. Let that truth settle in. You have your own time. You have your light. You are not behind. You are on your way. So today, make a quiet vow to yourself. I will not measure my worth against another's path. I will honor my own pace, my own becoming. I will choose respect for my journey over resentment for someone else's, because peace begins when comparison ends. And once you've loosened yourself from the chains of comparison, the next step in healing is perhaps the hardest: learning to forgive yourself. Lesson 8. Forgive yourself and others. Forgiveness is not weakness, it is release, a quiet, courageous act that unchains your soul before it ever touches the one who hurt you. The Buddha knew this well, and taught that forgiveness is not something you do for others first, it's something you offer yourself. We've all carried wounds, times when someone said or did something that hurt us deeply. Maybe it was betrayal, humiliation, or abandonment. And for many of us, the instinct is to hold on to the pain, replaying the memory over and over, waiting for justice or revenge. We tell ourselves, "I'll never forget." They don't deserve forgiveness. But pause for a moment and ask yourself, has holding on to that anger ever truly brought you peace? Has it ever healed you? The truth is, anger is like a fire that burns the one who carries it. The longer you hold on to it, the heavier it feels. You may think you're protecting yourself, but in reality, you're carrying poison, hoping someone else will suffer because of it. The Buddha said that holding on to anger is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. That bitterness doesn't harm them. It harms you every single day quietly. Forgiveness doesn't mean erasing the wrong or pretending it never happened. It means choosing to release the burden it left behind. When you forgive, you're not saying it didn't hurt. You're saying, "I refuse to carry this pain any longer." And this doesn't apply only to others. It applies to yourself too. Sometimes the hardest person to forgive is the one you see in the mirror. For the choices you made, the dreams you did not follow, and the words you wish you could take back. Forgiving yourself is the doorway to self-love. Until you treat yourself with compassion, true healing cannot begin. Today, take one small step. Release the resentment you carry toward others and toward yourself, not because they deserve it, but because you deserve peace. This simple act of letting go can heal your heart more than years of quiet pain ever could. Forgiveness is not a favor, it is freedom, and once you offer it, you will see that it is the most powerful gift you can give your soul. Lesson 9. Practice mindfulness. Have you ever felt completely tired in your mind? We usually think of exhaustion as something the body feels after a long day, but today, the deepest tiredness is often mental. Our thoughts keep racing, one moment holding on to yesterday's regrets, the next worrying about tomorrow. And in all this noise, we lose something very important, the peace of the present moment. The Buddha taught a simple yet powerful path to peace: mindfulness. It is not only about meditation or sitting in silence, it is about being fully present in whatever you are doing. Every action, no matter how small, can become a moment of mindfulness. Pause for a second and reflect. How do you usually start your day? Many of us reach for our phones as soon as we wake up, jumping straight into the noise of the outside world. But imagine this. What if, instead of picking up your phone, you simply opened your eyes, took a slow breath, and felt the comfort of your bed beneath you? As you go through your morning routine, try to stay present. When brushing your teeth, notice the touch of the bristles, the cool water, and the fresh feeling in your mouth. These small moments, when experienced with full attention, can gently change your day. Your mind and heart begin to move together, and your morning starts with calm. Mindfulness can be part of every area of life. When you eat, put away distractions like your phone or television. Taste your food slowly and enjoy each bite as more than just fuel. It is a gift created by nature, effort, and care. Eating with awareness feeds not only your body, but your mind as well. You can even practice mindfulness while walking. Walk slowly without rushing. Feel each step, the touch of your feet on the ground, and the natural movement of your body. This simple action makes your body feel lighter and your mind more relaxed. In your work as well, focus on one task at a time. Set aside distractions and give your full attention to what is in front of you. When you work with full focus, success follows, not only because you finish more, but because you feel real satisfaction in what you do. Mindfulness can also improve your relationships. The next time someone talks to you, truly listen. Do not interrupt. Do not prepare your reply in your mind. Just be fully present with their words. This simple habit can create deeper and more meaningful connections because people feel respected and valued when they are truly heard. At first, this practice may feel strange, since our minds are used to rushing and being busy all the time. But with daily practice, you will begin to notice a difference. The more present you become, the more peace you bring into your life. Remember, peace is not something you need to find in distant places or big achievements. It is here, in this moment, in every breath. The more you practice mindfulness, the calmer your thoughts will become. Life will start to feel more balanced, and you will understand yourself more deeply. Over time, fear becomes weaker, regrets lose their power, and a deep gratitude for life grows inside you. Mindfulness reminds us that every moment is precious. When you live fully in the present, even a simple day can feel special. See every morning as a new beginning. Each day carries the chance to start again. But how often do we wake up still holding the weight of yesterday? The regrets, the arguments, the unfinished work, or the pain? We let these burdens rise with us each morning. Then we move through our routine, brushing our teeth, eating breakfast, going to work, without truly releasing them. And without noticing it, we stay stuck in yesterday's energy. So ask yourself this: if you were given a completely new life every morning, would you still choose to carry old pain, anger, and tiredness with you? The Buddha taught that each morning is a fresh start. This is not just a beautiful idea, it is a deep truth. When you wake up, you are not only leaving sleep behind, you are being given another chance to step into your life with new awareness. Remind yourself that the past is only that, the past. The past exists only in your memory, and memories should not be allowed to steal the joy of the present moment. Each morning is like a blank page waiting for you to write a new story. But if you keep rewriting yesterday's story on that clean page, how can something new begin? No matter how heavy or painful your past has been, the sun rises every day without judging who you were yesterday. It simply shines, lighting the path ahead with warmth and endless possibility. So begin each day with this thought. Today, I can create myself again. Today, you have the chance to be kinder, to forgive, and to heal. Today, you can repair a broken relationship, take one small step toward your dreams, or simply welcome the peace that has always been there for you. Every morning, life softly whispers, "Here is another chance." You have the power to decide what kind of day you will create. Will you allow it to be shaped by worry, stress, and confusion once more? Or will you fill it with love, peace, and mindfulness? The choice is yours, and within that choice lies your greatest strength. Take a slow, deep breath. Gently close your eyes for a moment. Let go of yesterday and say to yourself, "Today I will live fully. I will release the past. I will learn to love myself. I will find peace within." Remember, life is always moving. Every moment brings a new opportunity to change. Each day is a new chance to rediscover who you truly are. The simple truth is this: everything that arises will also pass. Every storm, every sorrow, every smile. When we stop resisting change and begin to move with it, our suffering becomes lighter. That is where true healing begins. Not because life suddenly becomes perfect, but because we stop expecting it to remain the same. If these words touched your heart, remember, this is only the beginning. There are many timeless teachings inspired by the wisdom of the Buddha that can gently guide you toward peace, presence, and self-compassion. Subscribe to the channel and walk this path of healing with us, one gentle insight at a time. And if you feel someone else may need to hear this today, share it with them. Remember, nothing lasts forever, and that is exactly what makes this moment so precious.